Hi guys, Jessica here from the Healing Hands Duo, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't actually prepare a video for today, and I didn't want to go without making a video this week, and so this is not me making an attempt to just put anything out there. There are a few things that have been really weighing on my mind lately, and I know that it is Lyme Disease Awareness Month, and I technically said I'd be talking about Lyme disease the entire month. However, this video is not going to be necessarily geared just specifically towards that. It's going to be more or less about the things that I've been personally feeling lately, and I'm sure many of you have been feeling as well. These last couple of months, I've been very motivated and very encouraged to do. I've been hearing this from a lot of people. A lot of people are feeling encouraged to do something big, take some type of life-changing action, or, you know, somehow progress into something, I guess, to progress into something more than they've currently been doing. I know a lot of people are coming into this new age where everybody feels the need to want to really, you know, give back to their communities and in the environment, as well as really wanting to try and help other people or become more natural and all that. And I think this is a common thing that a lot of us are feeling right now. I don't think it's just Kevin and I. I think the other thing is you've seen the natural health industry take off, and a lot of people probably think it's just bad, but I really don't think it has anything to do with that. I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, things like ascension and people becoming more high vibrational beings, and you know, I don't want to throw out all these new age terms, but really in a sense that I do think that is what's happening. I know for me it's been happening for quite a long time. I actually attribute a lot of my illness to the fact, I call it actually a purge period, and I believe there is, you know what, let's backtrack a little bit. There is this overwhelming energy on the planet right now. I think many people feel it. I think a lot of us, I think it's safe to say a lot of us know or feel in our hearts that something needs to be done to either change the way the world is in its current state, or there is something that needs to be done to help other people. I think a lot of us, for me lately, I have felt like there are a lot of things on the planet, or a lot of entities on the planet suppressing, you know, information out there, whether it be information that can help people with disease ailments, or information that is suppressed because it's not for the greater good of humanity, and it all has to do with greed and fear and control and money. And I've been wanting to talk about this, and Kevin and I will get into things like that, but of course, you know, whenever you're putting something out on the internet, you do kind of have to watch what you say. And in that case, I just want to give you a primary example. I had a video that I uploaded about a month ago, I think it was now, and it was, to any of you that would have seen it, it was my part 5 to my supplement series. So I actually specifically spoke of one particular supplement that Kevin and I both distribute, but also another product that we had taken. However, due to legality issues and all that, and obviously the suppression of this particular substance, I felt the need to have to remove it this week, because I was pre-warned by a good friend of mine that another one of my friends had their entire YouTube channel taken down. And her name is Jessica, and I will link down below to her Facebook page and her website and all that. So if you know, it would be really great if you could help her out by at least connecting with her there. Her website's name is Passionate Healers, and she's a great person, and she had made one video about this particular substance, and her entire YouTube channel was taken down. She lost, I believe, over 1 to 2 years worth of work, and like, I can't even remember how many videos she said that she had uploaded, and a lot of them weren't backed up. So that's number one, and one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this today, because I didn't upload yesterday, and I've been in a kind of in a panic mode about this one particular video that I had uploaded, like I said, a month ago. And I went back and forth and was beating myself up about it, because I was saying to myself, well, do I leave this video up because the things that I was talking about in that particular video really did help Kevin and I when it came to health and wellness. And I believe it truly can help a lot of other people. I'm sure some of you already know what I'm talking about, and for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, you can go over to my Facebook page, because I did make a post about this on my Facebook page as well as my Twitter page this week, and I will link to all my social media stuff down below. But I was very angry. I was very angry, not with just, you know, I'm not even sure what I want to say and how I want to say this. I was kind of angry with, you know, all of the social media sites, and I was also angry with the fact that this is a constant ongoing thing with not only people who are wellness advocates, but, you know, people in general who want to go outside of the mainstream media or outside of mainstream medicine and all that. We're made out to be quacks. We're made out to look like we are following pseudoscience. I've had people call me, like, not necessarily call me directly, but I've heard it. People call us tree huggers, and people say we're hippies. And, you know, people say, you know, even the Lyme community in itself, we get a lot of flack. I've actually had 2 people who have not made direct comments to me, and yeah, let's not even go there, but haven't made direct comments to me, but have made comments to 2 of my friends online, and one who said, you know, you should really stop using the word chronic Lyme, because, and I maybe some of you aren't even aware of this. For those of you that have been with me since the beginning of my channel, chronic Lyme is a very controversial disease in this country, but basically across the whole world. And the reason for that is because people believe, people, I don't want to say just doctors, but people in general believe out there from the bottom of their heart that there is no such thing as, they believe in Lyme disease, but not chronic Lyme disease. It is said, and a lot of people believe, that if you take 30 days of antibiotics, that it is completely cured, and that's it. Beyond that, if you develop any types of long-term effects or symptoms, they just believe that that's either damage due to the actual bacteria itself, or that you have something else, like an autoimmune disease of some sort, or another chronic illness that the doctors still haven't found yet. And number one, if you understand the way that Lyme disease works, you would understand how asinine that is. It's just so asinine. I try not to let these people get to me, and I really do try not to let these people get to me, but it is completely asinine. Number one, if you were struggling with this, you would not open your mouth. Secondly, if people state that, you know, chronic Lyme disease doesn't exist, I would love to know then why I am not allowed to donate blood at the hospital. I've told people I potentially have an infection with Lyme, and they know it was years ago that I had the infection, but I still can't donate blood. So if that's the case, I would like for you to tell me why it is that the doctors will not allow me to donate blood, but yet they don't believe that chronic Lyme exists. So that's number one, something that makes absolutely no sense. Number two, this is my body, this is my experience. I want to put that out there to anybody who I know most of the people that are watching me now completely agree with me, and I don't think, and maybe some of you don't, but anybody that may come across this video in the future may not agree with me, and in that case, I have to say, I don't care. I don't care if you don't agree with me. I was not put here on this planet to tell you how to live your life or to have your experience on this planet. And in the same respect, you were not put here to tell me how to live my life or to have my experience. You know, again, many people would argue that, you know, would argue reality in itself, whether what we think is really tangible and real is even what is really real and tangible, whether the science that we are going on today that is like 60 to 70 years old is even relevant anymore today. So the fact that doctors are testing for things like Lyme and other bacterial, parasitic, and viral infections in blood, to me is not only, number one, completely outdated, but it's completely irrelevant based on the science and where we're going in the future. So I just want to put that out there, because there is a lot of stuff that is happening on the planet right now. A lot of things are going on, and number one, I don't want to feel going forward And it hasn't been like this for me for a while. I've been basically doing what I want to do since the beginning of this year. And I've been very confident in what I've decided to do with my life. After I lost my job a couple years ago, I struggled for years, not only with my health, and that was one of the reasons I didn't go back to work right away, but I struggled for years with who I was and what I wanted to be and what I wanted to give back to this world, like to this planet, to other people. I've always felt it in my heart that I was put here to do something bigger than what I was doing at the time. And I know this is going to sound very cliche, because I'm sure most of us out there right now are thinking the exact same thing. And I think it's completely normal for most of us to be thinking that. And I also think that a lot of us put here right now in this planet, again, this goes back to whatever faith you have or religion or whatnot, but I do believe in karma, and I believe that a lot of us were brought back or incarnate here now for things that are much bigger than just us. And you know, I don't want to say a mystic, because I don't know that I like that word, but I've been always very intuitive since I was very little. I've always, you know, heard and seen things that other people couldn't see or hear. And no, I'm not schizophrenic, or I don't suffer with depression or anything like that, or any of those things. I'm not crazy. So it's not that. I just know I've always been empathetic towards other people. I could feel their emotions or take on other people's emotions, which is unfortunate at times, because when you are an empath, you tend to take on all emotions, whether those be happy emotions or sad. And for a long time, I myself was probably a very low vibrational being. I was trying to bring my vibration up, but in that case, you attract to you what you are and not what you want. So when I was in a very low vibrational state, I was attracting all these other people in my life that were also very low. And in that case, being an empath, I would take that from them. And I would always be in a state of kind of anxiety and not knowing who I am, and feeling very uncomfortable, and feeling uncomfortable with myself. And I'm really trying. I really am. And I think most of us are just doing that. A lot of us are trying to go with the flow and allow whatever is happening on this planet right now to just happen. And I think that's why we've seen such a shift in so many people recently, where people feel the need that, you know, what they are currently doing, whether it be for their occupation or their family life, is just not enough anymore, and there needs to be more that needs to happen. There needs to be an awareness that needs to happen. You want to help people, you want to teach people. And I think the reason why I really wanted to do this video now, I'm sorry, I know this is all over the place, but that's because my brain at this point is all over the place, and it makes complete sense, because this week, and many of you probably don't follow astrology or numerology and all that, but this week was kind of a very pivotal week for everybody, for the planet, really. And the thing is we just went into a new moon on Tuesday, but leading up to this moon, the energies that have come into 2018 have been very, very, very intense. And by intense, I'm pretty sure it's not just me that's feeling them. I'm pretty sure everybody is feeling them right now, because this is the year where, even if up until this point you wanted to turn a blind eye to what's happening in the world, you were able to do that up until 2018. But according to the things that I follow and watch, and the things that I believe and feel and see, many of us are not going to have that choice to dig our heads into the sand and no longer pay attention to what's happening all around us. As of 2018, many of us are being forced into what I call a purge period, or we're forced into a purge period. Some of us have been going through it for years now. My purge period started probably, I would say, well over a decade ago, and I believe that was one of the major reasons why I got sick. And again, just to make some sense of this, because I know this probably seems very out of sorts on my channel and out of sequence, because Kevin and I haven't really gotten into all the spiritual realms of things just yet. But like I said, I've always been an intuitive. I've always been very empathetic since I was very young. I've always been interested in mysticism and other things like that, and along those lines, pagan religions, stuff like that. So I'm trying to put this in a light that makes sense to everyone. Going into 2018, I was very well aware of the fact that things were going to be different for a lot of people in 2018. A lot of shifts were going to happen throughout this year. Like I said, many of us have been going through a purge period, and by purge I mean that a lot of us have been doing a lot of self-work. Like either you have taken on, you know, some type of a spiritual practice or meditation, or you've been physically going through a purge period, which means getting rid of a lot of the old things in your life, you know, learning to appreciate what you have and learning to let go of things that no longer serve you, and just really coming into your body. And even when I say purge, I mean a lot of people even purge at a very physical level. Like DNA structures are changing right now. Our bodies are changing right now. People were purging. People were getting sick. A lot of people were getting extremely sick, whether it comes on and it expresses itself like an autoimmune disease. There is a lot of information out there that now states in order to actually go through a very evolutionary growth period like we are going into right now, which means all of us are trying to bring up our vibration, we need to change ourselves at a cellular level, and our DNA structure is actually changing. Like they are saying that children are being born with so-called junk genes right now, which are not really junk genes at all, but they are these genes because these children are coming into the planet with this higher vibration already, which means they're going to also have more advanced abilities. Just let's state it at that they're going to be more advanced abilities. And you can look this up. They're finding that people are being born with 3 helixes on a strand of DNA. And I think a lot of us that have come in to this planet at that point where we only had 2 helixes on our DNA, we are also going to our bodies are also trying to evolve. Not that we are consciously trying to evolve, but at a subconscious level, our body is trying to evolve to come up to this vibration as well. And I know, sorry, I'm gonna move the camera. I know that sounds maybe crazy to some people, but there is a lot of information out there. And if I have time, I've told you guys that these next couple months, it's going to be really busy for Kevin and I, so I probably won't have time to link to everything below. But at some point, we'll get into all this. But this, like I said, so back to this purge period, a lot of people are coming down and getting really sick. Whether it be cancer or autoimmune or some major infection like Lyme. And I think we're seeing more and more and more of this right now, because the thing is when you are in a low vibrational state, and what keeps you in a low vibration is, you know, self-hate. And I hate to use the word self-hate because I don't think any of us hate ourselves, but some of us don't love ourselves the way we should. Fear is a really huge one. And honestly, I think that all of the things, like whether it's self-hate or not being confident or doubting yourself or questioning yourself, I think these things are all normal. But at the same time, if you stay in a chronic state of sadness, depression, all these things, you are at a lower vibration. And unfortunately, being in a lower vibration also makes you susceptible to taking on many physical health ailments in your body. And by that, I mean, there is, again, a lot of research to suggest that if you don't get rid of all the old baggage that you've been carrying around for your entire life. Like, for instance, I'll use myself as an example. I've seen a lot of spiritual healers. I've worked with some gurus who have told me that when you hold on to things like, for instance, like guilt, you actually hold on to these energy blocks in certain areas of your body. So for instance, for years, I felt guilt that I wasn't good enough, or guilt that I didn't do enough when I was younger, and all these things. And I was holding this in my stomach. And as you all know, I have Crohn's colitis, and whether that was, you know, whether that was created by the Lyme disease or just a symptom of the Lyme disease or whatnot, nothing is absolutely for certain, but I believe most of my problems started with an initial infection, which was like the Lyme, and then I developed all my autoimmune diseases, but I'm getting off topic. But anyway, the whole point of that is that I think a lot of people are looking for, and Kevin and I have said this often, like, you know, if you have a chronic illness, look for an underlying infection. And that is absolutely true. And I still do think that that is something that everybody needs to look at. But there is actually another side to this equation as well. And the other side is that you really need to look at yourself. You need to look at who you are and what you've been through and what you're holding on to.